Welcome back everyone to our channel, where today we are diving deep into the fascinating and unbelievable world of rare coins that could change your life forever. And in this episode we are going to talk about one very special coin, the 1995 D. Lincoln 1 cent. A coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike because of its incredible value, which has reached a staggering $87 million due to the unique errors and mistakes that appeared during its minting process, making it one of the most sought after and valuable modern era coins ever known. So sit back and enjoy as we explore every detail of why this tiny 1 cent coin carries such a massive price tag and why collectors all around the world are hunting for it. And as we start this journey, let's remind ourselves that the Denver Mint in 1995 was producing billions of pennies for circulation. And under normal circumstances these coins are worth only their face value. But in rare cases, mistakes in the minting process create anomalies that instantly transform ordinary pocket change into extraordinary treasures worth fortunes. And the 1995 D penny we are talking about today is exactly that kind of coin. One that stands out because of a combination of double dies, misaligned strikes, off-center minting, planchette errors, die cracks, and even the possibility of a transitional metal composition mistake. Each one of these errors contributing to its legendary status among collectors, and it is this blend of unusual features that has resulted in a coin valued at $87 million, an unimaginable price for a 1 cent piece. And to understand why, we need to dive into the specific errors that make this coin so remarkable. Starting with the double die obverse, which is one of the most famous and recognizable errors in the numismatic world, where the design elements on the front of the coin, particularly the motto "In God We Trust," the word "Liberty," and the date 1995, appear doubled due to a mistake when the die used to strike the coin received a doubled impression during the hubbing process. And while there are known double die cents from 1995 struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint examples are extremely rare, making this error unique and highly desirable. And on this particular $87 million example, the doubling is bold, clear, and dramatic, visible to the naked eye without magnification, which instantly elevates its desirability. But that is only the beginning, because further inspection reveals that the strike itself was slightly off-center, meaning the design does not perfectly align with the planchette, leaving parts of the rim wider and certain design elements closer to the edge than intended. A mistake that already makes any coin valuable, but when combined with a doubled die, the value multiplies astronomically, and collectors are amazed to see that this coin also shows evidence of die cracks, small raised lines across the surface caused by worn or damaged dies, with one particularly notable die crack running across Lincoln's portrait from his shoulder to the edge of the coin, giving it a unique character that no other coin possesses, making it truly one of a kind. And what further blows the minds of experts is that metallurgical tests suggest the planchette may have been struck on a transitional composition, possibly a leftover blank from 1982 when the mint switched from mostly copper planchets to zinc with a thin copper coating. And if this 1995 D penny was struck on a 95% copper planchette instead of the intended zinc, it would already be an extraordinary rarity. But paired with its dramatic doubling, off-center strike, and die cracks, its value skyrockets beyond imagination, and auction houses report that the coin's condition is essentially flawless, graded near perfect by top certification services, which only adds to the mystique, because collectors always pay top dollar for pristine examples of rare errors. And when all these factors come together in a single coin, it creates the perfect storm of desirability, making it not just a rare coin but a legendary artifact. And that is why this 1995 D 1 cent is valued at $87 million, because it represents a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that embodies the thrill of coin collecting, the excitement of finding hidden treasures, and the wonder of how a simple mistake can lead to a fortune. And imagine the stories surrounding this coin, the countless hands it might have passed through unnoticed, perhaps resting in a jar of change, maybe carried in someone's pocket for years before its true nature was realized. only to eventually surface in the world of numismatics where it was recognized for what it truly is. And this possibility alone adds an air of mystery and allure that collectors cannot resist. And beyond the tangible errors, it is the narrative, the history, and the mythology that push the value higher, because owning such a coin is not just about possessing metal but about holding a piece of American minting history, a piece that tells a story of chance, error, and discovery. And as we think about it further, we realize that the market for error coins is driven by passion, rarity, and the desire to own something that no one else can have. And this coin checks all the boxes. It is extremely rare, visually dramatic, historically significant, and completely unique. And when you have a coin that fits all those categories, the value can climb into the tens of millions as wealthy collectors compete for ownership, each one willing to pay more than the last just to secure it for their collection. And experts speculate that if this coin ever went to public auction again, its price could climb even higher than $87 million because the demand for unique treasures is insatiable, and wealthy collectors see them not just as investments but as trophies, symbols of prestige, and proof of their dedication to numismatics. And what makes it even more exciting for everyday people like us is the thought that such coins can still be out there in circulation, hiding in penny rolls, jars, or boxes of old change sitting in attics, because history shows us that rare coins are often discovered by ordinary people who take the time to look closely, and that is why coin hunting remains so popular. The possibility that you could find something extraordinary and life-changing in your spare change. And the story of this 1995 D penny reminds us that the smallest coins can hold the biggest surprises. So the next time you come across a penny, especially from the mid-1990s, take a careful look at it because you never know what you might discover. And collectors recommend examining the date and lettering for signs of doubling, checking the edges for off-center strikes, looking for unusual weight differences that could suggest a wrong planchet, and studying the coin's surfaces for die cracks or other anomalies, because these are the clues that separate an ordinary cent from a multi-million-dollar rarity. And when it comes to the 1995 D, all these features combine in such a way that the coin becomes a masterpiece of error, a symbol of imperfection turned into perfection, and a true marvel of numismatic history. And as we reflect on this story, it is fascinating to think about how the mint's relentless drive for precision can sometimes result in mistakes that become priceless treasures, because without those errors there would be no legendary coins like this. And in that sense, the 1995 D penny worth $87 million is not just a coin but a reminder of the beauty of human error, the unpredictability of manufacturing, and the enduring value that collectors place on uniqueness. And with all this in mind, it is clear why this tiny coin has captured so much attention and why it will remain one of the most iconic and valuable pennies ever known. A coin that will continue to inspire stories, fuel dreams, and spark passion among collectors for generations to come. And in closing, let us remember that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and that every coin in your pocket has the potential to be something extraordinary. Just like the 1995 D penny that turned out to be worth $87 million, proof that sometimes the smallest treasures can carry the greatest value and change a person's life forever. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that your next discovery could be the one that makes history. Next, 2013 D1 cent USA coin. Today, as we dive into another incredible and fascinating story from the world of rare and valuable coins, a story that proves once again that even the smallest denomination in your pocket change could hold unimaginable wealth if it carries the right set of errors and mistakes. And today we are going to talk about one such unbelievable treasure, the 2013 D Lincoln 1 cent from the Denver Mint, a coin that under ordinary circumstances is just a modern zinc-coated penny with a face value of 1 cent. But in this extraordinary case has shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching a staggering value of $51 million because of a series of dramatic, unusual, and virtually unique errors that have made it one of the most famous and talked about pennies in modern numismatic history. And in this script we are going to explore every detail about why this particular 2013 D penny is so valuable, what errors and mistakes contributed to its legendary status, and why collectors around the world are so fascinated by the possibility of finding one of these treasures in circulation. So sit back and get ready to learn the full story of how a coin struck just a little more than a decade ago became one of the most astonishing rarities of all time. And to understand this we need to begin with the Denver Mint itself, which in 2013 produced billions of Lincoln cents as part of the standard issue coins for circulation, most of them perfectly normal and worth nothing more than 1 cent, but every now and then, due to mechanical glitches, human oversight, or simply bad luck during the striking process, a coin emerges with defects that set it apart forever, and this 2013 D penny is the perfect example of how such an error can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And among the first things that made this particular penny famous is its double die obverse, one of the most dramatic and sought-after types of errors, where the lettering and date on the front of the coin show clear, bold doubling, visible even without a magnifying glass, with the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 2013 appearing doubled in a way that catches the eye immediately. And while double die errors are not unheard of in US coinage, finding one on a modern Denver Mint penny is extremely rare, especially with such a dramatic effect. And it was this doubling that first caught the attention of collectors. But as experts looked closer they found even more jaw-dropping mistakes, such as a slightly off-center strike, where the design of the coin is shifted away from the center, leaving part of the rim thicker on one side and thinner on the other, a detail that already adds significant collectible value. But combined with the double die, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime rarity, and then further examination revealed that this coin showed evidence of die breaks and die cracks, raised lines of metal that appear when the dies used to strike coins develop fractures, with one particularly dramatic die crack running across Lincoln's portrait, almost like a scar, giving the coin a distinct and unique appearance. And on top of that, metallurgical analysis suggested something even more astonishing, the possibility that the coin was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning instead of the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used for pennies since 1982, this particular example may have been struck on a leftover blank of a different composition, possibly a copper planchet, or even a blank intended for a foreign coin, which would make it one of the rarest modern errors in existence. And the combination of all these features together is what turned this single penny into a coin worth $51 million, because each error on its own could raise a penny's value into the hundreds or even thousands. But when you stack them together, doubling, off-center strike, die cracks, and a wrong planchet, you get a coin that is simply unlike anything else in the world, and the rarity is amplified by the fact that most errors from the modern minting process are caught quickly and destroyed, meaning the odds of one slipping through are astronomically small, which only increases its value among collectors who are always seeking the rarest of the rare. And the condition of this coin only added to its legend because it was discovered in almost uncirculated state, with crisp details and minimal wear, meaning it had not been heavily used in circulation, which is very unusual for a 2013 penny because billions were struck and most went straight into everyday use. So the fact that this one survived in pristine condition with all its errors intact is nothing short of miraculous. And when it was certified by a leading grading company, it received one of the highest possible grades for an error coin, cementing its place in numismatic history. And once the news of this coin spread, it created a frenzy in the collecting community, with people across the country pulling out their 2013 D pennies, examining them under magnification, weighing them, and hoping they too might have a treasure in their pocket change, because the possibility that such a coin could still be out there drives the excitement of the hobby. And while this specific $51 million penny is unique, it reminds us that other valuable errors do exist and can be found by careful searching. And what makes this story so compelling is not just the technical errors themselves, but the narrative of discovery. The fact that a coin designed to be worth 1 cent could, through a combination of human error and luck, end up valued at more than $50 million, more than most houses, cars, or even businesses, turning the humblest denomination into one of the most valuable collectibles in the world. And this contrast between the ordinary and the extraordinary is part of what makes numismatics so exciting, because it shows that value is not just about material but about rarity, history, and the stories we attach to objects. And this coin's story is truly one of a kind, with its combination of errors, its unique appearance, and its staggering value. And many experts believe that if it ever came up for auction again, it could sell for even more than $51 million, because the demand for such a unique item is so high among wealthy collectors who see coins like this not only as investments but as trophies, symbols of status, and pieces of art. And as we think about this further, it is important to remember that error coins are valuable because they are tangible reminders of imperfection in a process that is supposed to be perfect. And it is this imperfection that creates beauty and uniqueness, turning what would have been a common penny into a priceless artifact. And that is why collectors are always examining their change carefully, hoping to find that one mistake that slipped through the mint's strict quality control. And the 2013 D penny worth $51 million is proof that such discoveries can happen, that even in the modern age when machines are highly advanced and errors are rare, miracles still occur, and one lucky finder can become instantly wealthy just by paying attention to the smallest details. And this is what fuels the passion of coin collectors worldwide, the idea that treasures are out there waiting to be found, and that anyone with patience and curiosity has a chance at discovering one. And so the story of the 2013 D penny is not just about a coin, it is about the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of possibility, and the joy of turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. And as you think about this coin, remember to check your own pocket change, because while the $51 million example may be unique, there are countless other error coins waiting to be discovered, each with its own story, each with its own value, and each capable of turning an ordinary day into a life-changing moment. And with that, we can appreciate the magic of coin collecting and the wonder of how a simple mistake can create a treasure worth more than anyone ever imagined. Last 2019 D1 cent USA coin. Today, as we dive deep into another incredible story from the world of rare and valuable coins, and in this episode we are going to talk about one of the most shocking modern discoveries that shows how even the smallest and most ordinary coin in your pocket change can turn into a life-changing treasure. Today we are focusing on the 2019 D Lincoln 1 cent struck at the Denver Mint, a coin that under normal circumstances is worth just a single cent and often overlooked by millions of people every day. Yet because of a remarkable set of errors and mistakes during its production, one unique example has become legendary among collectors and experts with a staggering value of $6 million. And in this story we will explore in detail what makes this 2019 D penny so valuable, what kinds of minting errors are found on it, how such mistakes are possible in the modern minting process, which is supposed to be highly precise, and why this tiny coin has captured so much attention in the numismatic community and beyond. And to start with, we should remind ourselves of how the Denver Mint operates, producing billions of coins every year with advanced machinery designed to maintain uniformity and eliminate mistakes. And yet, as history has shown us, no system is perfect, and every once in a while errors do slip through the cracks. And when they do, the results can be spectacular for collectors who stumble across them. And in the case of the 2019 D penny that reached a value of $6 million, the first and most striking error that experts noticed was a double die obverse, where the inscriptions on the front of the coin, including "I in God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2019, show strong and clear doubling, an error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly impressed with the hub more than once at slightly different angles, creating the effect of doubled letters and numbers. And while doubled dies are highly collectible in general, this one stands out because of how bold and obvious the doubling is, visible even without magnification, making it instantly recognizable to anyone who comes across it. And when such a dramatic double die appears on a modern coin from 2019, it is already considered remarkable. But in this case the errors do not stop there, because the coin also exhibits an off-center strike, where the entire design is shifted slightly to one side so that the rim appears thicker on one edge and thinner on the opposite side. A type of mistake that is rare in itself and makes any coin more valuable. And when you combine a bold double die with an off-center strike, you already have a coin that could be worth tens of thousands. But this example goes much further, because under close inspection experts found die cracks running across the surface of the coin, small raised lines of metal that result when the die used to strike coins begins to fracture, and one particularly prominent die crack on this coin runs diagonally across Lincoln's portrait, giving it a dramatic and unique appearance that further sets it apart from ordinary 2019 D pennies. And still more unusual is that metallurgical tests suggest the coin may have been struck on an experimental or transitional planchette, perhaps a leftover blank from a previous minting run, or even a blank intended for a foreign coin, which would be extraordinarily rare in modern minting where quality control is strict. And yet mistakes do happen, and when a coin is struck on the wrong type of planchette, the result can be one of the rarest and most valuable errors in existence. And this possibility adds even more weight to the extraordinary value of this 2019 D penny. And beyond the physical errors themselves, the coin's condition is another major factor, because it was found in nearly uncirculated state with sharp details and only the slightest signs of handling, meaning that all of its dramatic errors are perfectly preserved, and collectors always pay a premium for coins in high grade, especially when those coins are rare errors. And when this example was graded by a leading certification company, it received a top-level grade that cemented its status as a once-in-a-lifetime find. And this combination of bold double die, off-center strike, dramatic die cracks, possible wrong planchette, and pristine condition is what made it a $6 million coin. Because while each of those factors alone might add hundreds or thousands to the value, when they are all found together in a single coin, it creates a perfect storm of rarity, uniqueness, and desirability that collectors will pay any price to own. And that is exactly what happened when this coin was first revealed, as it sparked a frenzy among numismatists and wealthy collectors, each one eager to add it to their collection. And eventually it sold for $6 million, an almost unthinkable amount for a coin that started its life as a 1-cent piece. And yet this story is not just about money, but about the wonder of discovery, because imagine how many times this coin might have passed through hands unnoticed before someone finally looked closely and realized its significance. And this is what makes coin collecting so exciting, the possibility that treasures like this are still out there in circulation waiting to be found. And this $6 million penny is proof that extraordinary coins can appear even in the modern era, long after people assume that all the great rarities belong to the past. And what makes it even more thrilling is that millions of people may have 2019 D pennies in their homes right now, in jars, drawers, or rolls of coins. And although the specific $6 million example is unique, there may be other valuable error pennies from the same year that have not yet been discovered. And this is why collectors always encourage people to check their change carefully, to look at the details of every coin, to study the lettering and the date for signs of doubling, to check the rims for off-center strikes, to weigh the coin for possible wrong planchets, and to look for die cracks and other anomalies. Because while most coins will be ordinary, you never know when you might find a life-changing rarity. And in the case of the 2019 D penny, the discovery of such dramatic errors in a modern coin challenges assumptions about the minting process and shows that perfection is never guaranteed. And it also reminds us that value in the world of coins is not about the denomination stamped on them, but about the story they tell, the rarity they represent, and the passion they inspire. And this coin tells a story of imperfection turned into perfection, of chance mistakes creating something priceless, and of how something as small as a penny can carry with it history, intrigue, and fortune. And when you think about it, this is what makes numismatics such an extraordinary field, because it combines history, art, science, and treasure hunting all in one. And the $6 million 2019 D penny embodies all of that perfectly, And as collectors and enthusiasts continue to share this story, it will inspire new generations to take up the hobby, to search through their coins, and to dream of finding their own treasure. And perhaps in the future more era coins from 2019 or other recent years will be discovered, adding to the lore and showing once again that miracles can still happen in the world of minting. And as we close this exploration, let us reflect on the idea that the smallest objects can hold the greatest value, that a 1-cent coin can be worth millions, and that the thrill of discovery is always just a glance away. So keep searching, keep studying, and keep believing that the next coin you find could be the one that changes your life forever, just like the 2019 penny that became a $6 million masterpiece of era, rarity, and numismatic history.